What's going on, VC? Joachim here. Cheers to you. Cheers to the weekend. Today I'm gonna share with you, I think 13, maybe 14 records that I think they are incredibly underrated. Of course, these records are within the punk rock spectrum, but these records, in my opinion, any rock and roll fan should be receptive to give these records a go, a proper go. Don't skip through it. Listen to this at least for once in its entirety, and I'm pretty sure you will find elements in these records that will captivate you, and maybe we will help turn your attention into a potential misconception of punk rock. So let's get the ball rolling. Let's start with the almighty Adolescents from Orange County. Bratz in Battalions. This record follow up their debut, also known as the Blue Album, which in my opinion is not also one of the best punk albums of all time, but is one of the best records ever made, genres apart. And one of the main reasons most of these records fall through the cracks at times, it's because the big majority of the ones I'm about to show, they follow up an incredible masterpiece that was done prior. So anyways, Bratz in Battalions, sound is different, slightly different, but nevertheless it's just like Southern California punk hardcore with a melodic tone, anthemic from start to finish. It's an absolutely banger in my book. Next one up, we're gonna stop in New York. Another band, the debut is highly celebrated, which I absolutely loved and I've shared here before. But this record sometimes is my go-to, and this is a beast of a record. I'm talking about Adrenalin O.D, Humongous, Fungus, Among Us, something like that. This is phenomenal. This is brilliant record. A shit ton of tracks. The humor still here, as you will find on Pope on Dope or Peas and Beer, Bugs. This is hands down one of those records that if you're not familiar with it and you go through the full experience, because if you're familiar with Adrenalin O.D, these guys are kind of jokesters, so there will be tracks that it feels like don't fit in, but they're there specifically to annoy the fuck out of the status quo. You go through the full experience of listening to this record, and you can thank me later. Another banger. Gotta move slow these days. Cheers. What's new with you guys? Any new bands that you guys recommend? Let me know. Another one from Berkeley. I love this band. And he's one of those bands that I believe you gotta have there's like a hate-love relationship for many, but their debut, Land Shark, is highly celebrated. Not also because Nirvana did cover one of the tracks from their legendary debut, but I'm talking about Fang, Where the Wild Things Are. This record is brilliant. I think one thing that stands out to me in this record it seems like there's like almost a battalion of saints approach on the sound. Some edgy metallic elements bringing to this record, but nevertheless, there's songs in this brilliant album that you could listen to this and think, man, didn't Nirvana just rip off Fang? That's where they got their sound from. Yeah, absolute classic banger. Highly recommend it, as all of these are. A brilliant album. I believe these guys were from Tampa, Florida. The ones that are familiar with it, they know how great this record is. And yeah, it is. This record should be on all those tops of American 80s hardcore. This came out in 86. I'm talking about the Belching Penguins. Draft beer, not me. If you want a description, my description on this is like, imagine the best of early American hardcore played by dudes that were likely to be obsessed with that furious Italian hardcore. And also, this might don't make sense, but to me it does. If you're familiar with Sacrilege from the anarcho-punk, metallic anarcho-punk band from UK, I hear that here too, ints here and there. Absolutely banger. This is absolutely classic. Belching Penguins. Let me see if... No, yeah, never mind. And absolutely, I love this record. This record actually played a huge develop in my... It opened my mind. It's one of those records that made me more receptive to punk done with more pop sensibilities. Talking about the fourth album by the almighty The Boys. Boys Only. What can we say about The Boys? The debut, legendary. Alternative chart busters, legendary. This record, to me, is legendary as well. It's a record that I can... I have to listen to this record start to finish, even though The Boys are heavily, it's a punk rock and roll 77 band. This record could be, if this record was ever labeled as power pop, this will probably be one of the best power pop albums ever. You know, I know we all have different understandings of certain subgenres. You know, I think a lot of bands that are quoted as power pop, to me, they're nothing but new wave. So there's more pop than punk in there. You know, let's think about the bands such as 2020. They can all the stick to this record. Even though I do like 2020, but it's his beauty of punk power pop right here. Boys Only. A controversial band, especially since the last release. which I didn't buy. And I probably won't. I don't know. We'll see what the time tells. But the last release, the sound is there, but the lead singer Noah really took a stand and came out with some lyrics that do appeal through the more conservative side of things, and when it comes to me, there's no such thing as conservative punk. You know, punk was made to be defiant, to challenge the status quo, not to fit in, not to keep up with the Jonases, and for sure not to have a pact with the establishment. But this is a band that I love. This record came out originally on CD and saw the light of day for the very first time courtesy of Fang Records. I don't remember how many years ago, but I'm talking about Anti-Heroes, Underneath the Underground. This record is a bomb. This record will blow you the fuck away. Just songs such as Rich People Don't Go to Jail, Truck Stop Toilet, and Election Day. This is brilliant. Love the Anti-Heroes to death. I think they are one of those bands that, you know, they're so fucking brilliant, but for some reason throughout the years, you know, people just like to label things and come up with all kinds of bullshit to, you know, to bash on them. What a fucking band. And I know that all of you out there that know the Anti-Heroes, know how fantastic of a band is, know that everything that is being said about this band in a negative way is nothing but a bunch of bullshit. This is a banger. Now I'm gonna take you to Germany. Probably the most well-known German band from the first German punk wave, first wave of German punk. Their first album was really very an acclaimed, well-known album. Probably more loved outside of Germany than in Germany itself, because these guys always sing in English. They evolved to become a huge band, more on alternative, new wave, rock side of things, but their first recordings were just brilliance of 77 punk, and their second album, I think, it falls through the cracks. And in my opinion, I think sometimes it's better than the first. I'm talking about the Almighty, one of the most ridiculous names in music history, but it does make sense. Talking about Big Balls and the Great White Idiot. Such an appropriate title, especially these days. Talking about second album, Foolish Guys. This is an absolute banger. Any 77 punk rock fan, like rock and roll, Dr. Feelgood, Eddie and the Hot Rods, you know, The Boys, you name it. Catchy tunes, some dumb as fuck lyrics here and there, but this is a banger as well. I decide to also promote some old but modern to a certain extent bands bands from the last 20 years. I think for the last 20 years is modern to me. A band that doesn't get as much credit as they deserve. And these guys did really brought up the spirit of the 80s skate rock. Of course, more thrash, more hardcore in here, but he has that bounce that you will encounter in bands such as JFA. It's kind of like JFA meets Boneless Ones, a little bit of Accused, all that shit packed with greatness. I have everything that these guys ever did, and I will always buy everything because it's money in the bank. It's a brilliant band, and they don't get the love they deserve. I'm talking about Bones Brigade. This is I Hate Myself When I'm Not Skateboarding. Yeah, if you're not familiar with this, man, be prepared. This is a banger as well. One of the most iconic bands. Today I saw a video that Adam from Damn Punk Records did, and you should check Adam's channel as well. It's some thread that is going on, like showing 4 records by one band, 3 records by one band. Vinyl Richie did that thread as well. And I thought about doing that thread a couple weeks ago, and a band that came to my mind was this band. I was like, well, in this case I'm gonna have to do 6 records because they have like fucking 6 records that are bangers. 2 of them I highly celebrated. This one I think falls through the cracks at times, and I absolutely adore this record. Talking about Circle Jerks 6. Yeah, 6. Yeah, 6. Even though it's not the 6th album, I think it's the 5th. Circle Jerks, brilliance here. It's what sounds like Circle Jerks. It's great. It's their last greatest record. The following one, the Oddities, Abnormalities. I hate the production on their record, but here it's just like Circle Jerks, a little bit more. Drinking from the fountain of classic hard rock, almost in this AC/DC and Motorhead riffage here and there, but this is beauty. Just right off the bat, Beat Me Senseless, Patty's Killing Mel, brilliant cover of CCR, Fortunate Son, banger. And also, by the way, I might be showing records that I've shared in the past. I always try to not repeat myself. But it's been three years already doing this. And I cannot keep track of all that stuff. And also, we know nobody goes back to watch videos from 3 years ago. So it's a refreshment. Ramones fans, Screeching Weasel fans, people that like catchiness, rock and roll in the vein of the Ramones, people that grew up in the 90s and they gravitate more towards sounds such as The Queers, Screeching Weasel, Mr. T Experience, Pansy Division, that kind of thing, right? If you like that kind of thing, this is a record that might blow you the fuck away. I never knew why these guys didn't blow up, but this reminds me of all that, plus Dark Thoughts. If you know Dark Thoughts, like they bring a little happy darkness to that sound, and this is just like catchy, bubblegumish, brilliant. I believe they were from Boston, and I'm talking about Conman, Get Loose. This came out in 2018. I love this record. I remember when I listened to this, I bought the record, I bought the cassette. I still have a seal cassette, and for me to go above and beyond, and like wanted to grab all the bells and whistles is because it has to be special somehow, at least for me. This is brilliant. Everything about it, the imagery, the production of the record, the songs, the happy silliness of things. Man, this is for the hopeless romantics and the Ramones fans. A banger. Another New York band bringing to your attention today. Everybody knows this band, or at least the old heads. They all know this band, and but it gets forgotten. You know, I bet a bunch of you that watch my videos have this record on shelf for years, and you don't revisit this shit. This is brilliant. This is early New York punk, hardcore. You know, like contemporaries of Crowd, a little bit later than Crowd, but that vein. You know, they have some serious social consciousness in their music, some melody. These guys can play. I absolutely love this shit. Go and listen to The Taxidermist and tell me what you think. This came out on Alternative Tentacles too. What year was this shit? I'm gonna say 84 maybe. Talking about the debut of False Prophets. Excellent, absolutely excellent. Often forgotten. Now we're gonna finish in England. 2 records from England. An absolute banger from '88. This band, this particular record, it has a little bit of everything when it comes to this era. It's an hardcore record. You'll think UK hardcore, you think Ripcord, Heresy, and all that. You'll think some trash, all that is there too. But they have a sense of melody. Even the vocal approach, it can be ferocious, but at times is melodic. And almost melodic at a level of maybe what you heard on Leatherface, Mush. I'm just gonna put it out here. Do your homework. It's another record that a couple tracks doesn't define the record because these people could play. They were creative. I believe they put their heart and soul on these things, and it's a full experience, you know, to really get it. And I'm talking about Fired from the Circus from Doctor and the Creepens. Man, I love this fucking record. Check this shit out. Don't skip tracks. Allow yourself to understand it. It's a classic. And last but not least, just because yesterday I had a chat with George Blockhead, and we talked a little bit about these post-punk sound revival. A lot of good things coming out of that. And it got me thinking, you know, about the post-punk. And today I also put myself through a idiotic task of reorganizing my records. So I came across these one. I was like, here we go. I think the post-punk sound, right? When I think about post-punk sound, like I said earlier about the power pop, the perception of power pop and punk that we discuss these days based on these new bands and come under those titles or some self-proclaimed brands. this record came across today. I was like, yeah, I think this is a quintessential post-punk album. If you're not familiar with this, if you're young and you haven't got to the point yet that you're interested in going back and dig and, you know, inform yourself and come up with your own observations about music in general, this might be a record that will turn you off right away. I was like, fuck that. It's because it's not that catchy. But post-punk for me, it's all about, the way I see it, it's all about simplicity, precision, certain darkness and coldness to it. So bands that play on a tempo that you almost feel like they're fucking hammering you on a head, kind of thing. It's like repetitive, you know, dragging you through the mud, kind of thing. But with smart lyrics. And this is, to me, the quintessential post-punk album, and I'm talking about an almighty punk band. Their first singles are absolutely brilliance. But if you're not familiar with it, if you know, you want to understand your contemporary post-punk revivalist heroes, you need to listen to Crisis, Hymns of Faith. And I'm going to leave you here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys come across some records here that you'll dig. Thank you so much for your support. Without you guys, I wouldn't be here. You guys have a great week. Take care. Cheers.